Get away for action. Hey, welcome back to Okayest Cook Podcast. I'm Chris Whonsetler, your host, here at Horicon Marsh Archers at the 3rd annual Foam Fest put on by Okayest Hunter and BHA. It has been a wild day, super fun, lots of crazy activities, a lot of crazy people out here flinging arrows. We did a lap around the course and interviewed a bunch of the shooters. Out of the handful of people we talked to, you'll be pretty excited about some of these recipes, getting their hot tips on cooking, their favorite recipes, maybe some stories from their childhood. Super fun, anything from wild turkey legs to deer heart, all kinds of stuff. Who knows what we're gonna throw at you this episode. It's just gonna be a crazy, fun afternoon of shooting archery and just hanging out, talking food.
Okay, go for it. All right, Kevin Lorgy. Yeah, so I think our best tip is my dad always makes pickled deer heart. So we kind of gather them from all the deer that we shot throughout the season and from kind of like our whole hunting camp. I don't really know the recipe offhand, but there's a spice bag in there and we slice them up, pretty small and throw them on a Ritz cracker. It's pretty awesome, unless you drink too much wine and then you eat the spice bag, which has happened.
First name Joe, last name Van Beek. My tip for cooking would be if you're introducing venison to someone that's never had it before, prepare it for them. And in addition, make sure it's coming from quality deer. So maybe not a rutted up buck steak or, a deer that just is off in taste because of the adrenaline in it. But introduce it to them. Because if you just give somebody a piece of meat, sometimes they assume it's beef and it's the same thing. So I would say just introduce someone that's never had venison before, do it for them, and make sure you pick a good piece of meat.
Anthony Heller. So my recipe is for turkey legs. This is like my favorite turkey leg recipe. So after you get a turkey, you pull the legs off, drop both legs in a crock pot with the thighs. Drop bones and everything into a crock pot with some chicken broth and then whatever, maybe if you got apple juice or some type of juice, throw that in there, cover the legs up, let that sit in the crock pot for like 6 hours or so on low, then finish it off with like a dark beer. So another 2 hours with a dark beer in there, and then that will bring in like that dark beer flavor. Pull it out, debone the whole turkey leg, and you put all that in a bowl, and then you empty out some of that broth. This is going to be a you thing to figure out how soupy you want it. I don't like it soupy. But then you put in, it's like a white turkey chili. So you get white cantaloupe, I can't say the name, white something bean, starts with a C, and then great white northern beans, and then white chili beans. And then you saute onions, drop those in there. And then if you want to do some jalapenos, you can drop those in there. Some peppers, you can drop those in there too. And then you let that simmer for 30, 45 minutes, put all your turkeys back in, and then let that simmer for another hour, pull it out. You got some great turkey leg chili and it's super soft and tender and it's not, sorry, messing with the mic. You got the great turkey leg chili, nice soft tender, and it's not like that really hard gamey turkey leg that you get at the medieval fair. That's what it is. Here's my recipe.
Eric Tasker. So my favorite recipe or my tips or tricks for venison is doing venison sliders. And what I do is like a 2-to-1 ratio of ground venison to pork, and then blend that all together, mash them up, make small slider patties, and then whatever your favorite cheese is, whatever your favorite toppings are, it's great for appetizers when the guys come over watching football or at deer camp. But it's a great way to use up some of your hamburger and then also add some flavor to it and keep the juiciness too, which is a big part of it. So brat lovers, burger lovers, it's something for everybody.
Sydney Cheney. Why are you laughing at me?
This is funny to me.
Okay, I'll just tell you about the food. Great, really great appetizer is if you just get some portobello mushrooms, you get some savory sage Bob Evans sausage, just cook that up, put it in a pot, and then you put it in a block of cream cheese, a pack of regular cheese, mix it all together, and you just stuff it in the mushrooms, and then you put them in the oven until it's nice and melty, and they are to die for.
Very good.
Bon appetit.
Greg Tubbs. So a simple tip for any wild game, or any food really, is to keep it simple. Nice and simple. Let the food speak for itself. Let the cut of meat speak for itself. Venison, it speaks pretty loudly in volumes if you ask me. It's got its own flavor, right? It's red meat with flavor on its own. And some appreciate it and some don't, but it is very lean. So some sort of oil, peanut oil, olive oil. My house, we use a lot of olive oil. Salt, pepper. If you want to get a little crazier, add a little garlic or paprika or cayenne pepper for that matter. But nice and simple is really the key to my success with wild game. And there you have it.
My name is Patrick Reed. My favorite thing to do lately is I bought a new pellet smoker, and the thing is unbelievably easy to use. I am by far not a chef. I put everything I can think of on it. My favorite by far has been Dungeness crab. We put it at 230. Every 15 minutes you melt butter down, mix it with whatever seasonings you want, and baste it. But you gotta do it every 15 minutes, and it is by far the best thing I've ever had on that grill. Well, we do steaks, burgers, wings, you name it, it goes on there. But it is so easy to use a pellet smoker. I was shocked.
My name's Joel Tetzloff. I grew up eating venison, dry venison from my old man. Never liked it, and now I'm learning how to cook it, which is why I'm grateful for the Okayest Cook, because now I actually can try recipes that aren't going to taste like garbage and dry it out. So I guess my go-to is usually just I take the back straps and I'll just slice them into like 1-inch medallions, and then I'll just load the pan up with onions and butter. Throw it in there, maybe some peppers if they're fresh in the garden or not, some green red peppers for some sweetness, and then I just cook them for like a minute or two, I think 3 minutes total. So a minute and a half on one side, I flip them, a minute and a half on the other, pull them off, let them sit and rest for a little bit covered, and then you get nice juicy pink moist little niblets, and that's usually my go-to thing for venison.
First name's Noah. My last name is Heintz. I guess favorite recipes here. One of my favorite things to do is, the night I kill a nice deer, I will take the heart if I can. And my favorite thing to do with it is just sliced up real thin, just some butter and garlic in a pan, fried up. Some of the best thing I can make out of venison. I also tried last year a really nice, with the roast, I did almost a venison brisket in a smoker. That turned out super good. Did not change anything from brisket. Just cooked it a little shorter. Turned out great.
Matt Strime, giving you a story about wild turkey legs. We used to always throw those out because we never knew what to do with them. Toughest meat in the world. Till one day we decided to throw them in a slow cooker and make barbacoa tacos out of them. 8 hours in the slow cooker till those ligaments got nice and hard. Pull those out, shred it up, and hit it on the grill real quick. Man, I have never thrown a turkey leg out ever since then. It's the best part of the meat on the bird.
All right, Chad and Malott. So my recipe, you always kind of have those cuts of venison that are kind of leftover roasts, maybe the end of a tenderloin or something like that, or like backstrap that's just kind of fizzling out. So what I like to do is slice up into small chunks, and then I throw those chunks into a bag, and I usually take like some sort of like dark soda, like Coke, Pepsi, and soak that for an hour or two, basically kind of tenderize that meat. And then I take that out, dry it off, and then I throw some seasoning on it. Then I wrap them up. I slice a jalapeno in half, throw some cream cheese in there, slice of venison in there, wrap it with bacon, pin them with a toothpick, and then I throw it on the Traeger and just let that thing go. And what I'll do is I'll slow it, like get a heavy smoke for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I'll crank it to crisp up that bacon towards the end, half hour, like 450, max it out, and those come off, and the neighborhood. It's a neighborhood staple at like campfires and stuff like that. It is so good. And then sometimes what I've done too, to spice it up, you could throw like a maple glaze on it at the end, some maple syrup with some, like if you want it spicy, throw some of that in there, brush some of them with that and stuff like that too. So yeah, that's the leftover venison popper recipe that just drives everyone wild in the neighborhood.
I love it. It's so good.
I can't wait to try it. It is good.
Chuck Clark. I'm Eric's dad, and when he was younger, he was a good eater. He ate anything and everything I made, whether it's good or bad, or what Diane made. What she made is usually pretty good. But Diane would have to tell him, quit standing on the counters when I first started going out with her.
Yeah, we catch him in the morning when we got up, and he's climbing on all the counters, going through all the cabinets to see what food was everywhere. But it's cute.
And he was very skinny. He ate really good, but I think people thought he was malnourished, like I wasn't feeding him, but that was not the case. He just was very hyper.
Very hyper.
So that's a wrap.
Hey, my name is Bryce Becker. I make lake trout fried rice because I fish Lake Michigan a lot. I jig up a lot of lakers, and not a lot of people eat them. They call them greasers, and they think they taste terrible. But I fry them in butter. It tastes just like chicken fried in butter, and then you just shred it up, mix in some, make some fried rice. Make sure it's day-old rice, or even better, 2-day-old rice. If you got leftover Chinese food, or make the rice 2 days in advance. You mix it in with some soy sauce. You know, you can either get like a fried rice packet and put it in there or whatever. You will not be able to tell the difference between fried rice, like chicken fried rice, and lake trout fried rice. Besides, if you mess up and you get a little bit of skin in there, then you find a little chip on the inside, and it's pretty good. So it's really easy to make. It's absolutely delicious, and I've made it 4 times now, and I never have any leftovers.
My name's Vince Marquise, Vinny. Call me Saint Vinny. Love my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Put him before everything. Everything I do is for the Lord. Now we're talking some cooking. I myself, I like to get a little yammed. I like to lift weights when I'm not hunting. So what I do try to do is use all my wild game for my meal prep for the year. Fortunately, I haven't got that good of a hunter yet where I can last the whole year, but we're working there. So like for me personally, what I like to do is I like to do most of my deer and ground venison, besides like, you know, your back straps and whatnot. Just pound and ground venison. I think I put a doe down in 5 weeks last year. But yeah, I mean, using my venison for my meals, I mean, obviously it's lean protein, that and some wild rice. Those are my go-to meals in the off season when I'm not hunting. One of my other favorites, gobbler nuggets. Love them. You can fry them, you can bake them, you know, cube them up, get a little, what do I get? The garlic Parmesan breadcrumbs, smash them up in a bag, little egg wash. If you're feeling feisty, you know, throw them in the fryer. You want a little something better for you, you know, in the bake. Actually, I do like it baked a little better, surprisingly. Tastes good, a little better for you. But, I mean, honestly, between gobblers and, yeah, shooting deer, meal prep all year round on that. So it's my little tips of the trade, you know. Yeah.
Martin Ringeisen, part of Geared Up North, a podcast related to helping outdoorsmen and women become more efficient. My favorite recipe is something pretty basic but simple. I like to take the chops from a venison, cube it, and then in a bowl, put equal parts olive oil, coconut oil, and butter. Warm that up a little bit, and then put the cube chops in the bath. Put them on a kebab stick. Season it with whatever you want. My personal favorite is lemon pepper. And then put the grill on hot, and then do it for about anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute aside. Get that beautiful color that you want. Let it rest for about 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then once you're done, you can literally just throw it all in a bowl and just eat it like it's popcorn.
So Luke Orr, I make really good dove poppers. I get all my doves out of South Texas, so they're all South Texas white-winged doves. Any doves will work. I've done it with duck too. That's also really good. You just take the breasts out. You put some cream cheese and a jalapeno on them. You wrap them, and then you throw them on the grill for about 15, 20 minutes-ish. Yeah, 15, 20 minutes. Wrap them in bacon. That's what you do. Bacon. And then they're really good. So they're nice and crispy, and a little bit of spice from the jalapeno. So that's dove poppers.
Tyler Meaden. So last year, I found this very simple recipe for ducks, marinating in orange juice and Worcestershire sauce, and then just a quick cast iron sear. especially for small ducks like teal or wood ducks, and it was amazing. So much so that tomorrow is the opening day of teal season in Wisconsin, and I have been thinking about eating duck for a month now.
And that is a wrap on this short, sweet episode, my friends. If you can make it to the next event Okayest Hunter throws, I cannot recommend it enough. There are so many fun, like-minded people attending these things. I want to thank the Okayest Hunter crew, Eric, Derek, Greg, Tyler, plus everyone with Wisconsin backcountry hunters and anglers, the Horicon Marsh Archers people, and the sponsors of the event, Bear Archery, Rack Hub, Spartan Forge, Latitude Outdoors, Muck Boot Company, and Nosler Ammunition. They put tons of work into this event, and it showed. I seriously cannot wait for the next one. Well worth the drive. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, with hunting season already here in most areas, you are going to need a phenomenal knife kit to break down your game. Head over to Outdoor Edge and use code OKC20 for 20% off a new knife kit. Keep writing in, keep telling us what you like, keep sending us recipes, and most importantly, keep cooking. We'll catch you on the next one.